We are live. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Empath Insight Power Panel. Today, our topic is acceptance. So, before we begin, we can explain who we are and what we do. My name is Melanie Marisol, and I help fabulously wealthy women seeking spiritual sisterhood by connecting them and initiating them into their courtesan's journeys in my secret sorority, the Pleasurati.
I'm Marina Mcgreggor. I'm a self-love advisor and divine feminine healing guide, and I help women root deeply into their personal power through my business, S.O.S guidance.
And I'm Lauren Estelle. I help empaths and highly sensitive people to heal their chronic illness symptoms by releasing self-loathing and self-judgment through a deep connection with their intuition.
So for today's topic, we're discussing acceptance for empaths. So if anybody has any comments or questions, please comment below. If you have questions, we will answer them. If you're watching the replay, please use hashtag #TeamReplay. And if there's any part of this message that resonates, please share with anybody that you know so that they can get some spiritual downloads. So for our topic today of acceptance, Lauren and Marina, what is acceptance defined by you? And is there a particular experience that happened in your life that you'd like to share, that you managed to accept something that maybe you were having trouble accepting before, and how did that help you expand?
Okay, so for me, I feel like when I think of acceptance in my space of relationships, I think of there's a lot of situations where there is the situation that it is now, and then there's the potential. And I think that a lot of people tend to look at the potential situation and not really accept where the situation is right now. And a lot of the women that I work with will sacrifice maybe parts of themselves because of the potential and not kind of like resting. I've definitely done that before. There probably is several situations where I have not accepted the situation, that it is. And in turn, when I think of acceptance in relationships, I think of like accepting someone where they're at right now fully. So I see a lot of situations where the man is emotionally unavailable. That's like the typical situations that I deal with. And for whatever reason, it could be a narcissistic relationship that you need to get out of. It could also be a situation where someone just has to do their inner work. So maybe your partner is like an avoidant attachment style. There's some inner child healing to be done, or, whatever it may be. And I think that's important to say, because I see a lot of people talking about it and they're just talking about the bad situations or the narcissistic situations. And I think that's where the acceptance becomes hard, because then you have someone going, oh, no, but you don't understand. He's a great guy. He just has these issues. He has these problems. And then you start like doing one of two things: coddling your person and trying basically the same thing, but different routes. You either start to become in your masculine energy because you're trying to like control the situation. You're trying to heal your partner. I see a lot of women wanting to do the work for their partner so that they can get to that potential that they have in their head quicker. And they take on more of a masculine role and start becoming more controlling, and because they're not accepting the situation. So it takes them out of their feminine energy of receiving, and it takes their man out of their masculine energy and their own healing. And it keeps them stuck in their wounded masculine, their feminine energy, whatever the situation may be. Because it's basically spiritually and emotionally enabling, and it's not really helping growth in any way. So every situation is different. But I think that it's important to acknowledge both sides, the potential and where you're at right now, and knowing that you could have a great match, you could have a great guy, it could be a great person, but if you want to be in your feminine energy, and your man is not on the opposite end of that polarity with you right now, you need to accept that. And all you can do is you, basically. So you working on yourself and cultivating that energy within you, you doing your inner work and accepting where you're at and staying open to receiving without trying to control the outcome. That's really what's going to be beneficial for that situation. So you trying to be happy in your present moment and knowing that your guide's got you. He'll get his shit together. He'll come and get you, or he won't. But not being in your divine feminine energy was never really going to be an option for you either way. So what's meant to be will be. And I think just accepting that. So when I think of acceptance in my space, I think of accepting your situation and not looking into the future and operating from there. And that's something that definitely has been, I think, is a struggle for a lot of women, especially when the polarities are switched and you have a lot of men that are like kind of resting in their energy of receiving. And they're kind of like, well, like, I don't really want to do any work into this. And so then you have women that are like freaking out and they're like, well, I don't want to lose this. So I guess I have to do all the work. And it's like, no, if you want to be in your feminine energy, if you want a balanced relationship, you can't control the other person. You have to accept that. And you can't control your situation like that. If, you know, there has to be two people in there. You have to, the only thing you control is yourself. So I think by accepting yourself fully and raising your own damn vibration so that your divine masculine feels that, and then be open to the fact that, like, you know, maybe your person, you thought that was your person, isn't going to come back, and you'll be okay. And maybe he will, and then you'll know. But either way, you'll be glad that you're accepting your situation, how it was, and that you didn't, you know, you didn't try to control the situation, make it what you want it to be right now. You shouldn't have to force someone or remind someone to take you out, consider your feelings, be emotionally available. Like, these are things that we're not doing. So for a lot of women out there, there are special circumstances. Like, your man could be going through something. He could blah, 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 whatever. Like, so great. The good news is that the answer is always going to be the same, which is accepting the situation how it is, letting him lead. If he's not leading, I guess you don't have a relationship. Let him figure it out. He's a grown man, unless you want to date a child. But don't sit there and wait for him to figure it out. Like, focus on you. Be open and receiving. That doesn't mean that you have to be a bitch about it. Like, it's basically just accepting that you want to focus on you, make yourself great, be open to and understanding if that's the situation between you and your relationship. But that's your job. Like, your job isn't to control things or try to figure things out or be too crazy with stuff. So that is my wish for all women, to accept that for acceptance. And that's a hard one. And I know I've definitely, I won't go too into it because it'll probably be like super long, but I've definitely been in multiple situations. I'm like a double fire sign. My moon, I'm a Sagittarius. My moon is in Aries. Aries is like historically like impatient. Like, I want everything now. I'm very like, I want things to be this way. So that's, for me, you know, I even know all these things, and that's a constant one for me too. So all you can do is, you know, accept wherever you're at, know that if you do that and you just work on you and you're not waiting on things and you're just focused, it's like the energy too. You're just focused on you and your situation, that it'll work out either way, you know? But yeah, that's what I got. That was my long rant for acceptance.
So Lorna, how about yourself? Is there a situation in which that you experienced acceptance fully and you finally got it? Or is it acceptance something that you had to learn to cultivate for yourself? How do you handle it, especially when you're an empath, where sometimes it's very easy to get sucked into other people's emotional fields, and obviously they're not yours. So how do you navigate that?
Yeah, that's great. So I can tell a story. Yeah. I mean, the this is the whole reason I have my business now. So I had an experience where um, I had already been experiencing a lot of chronic illness, like whole list of things, um, for it was about 16 years. And it was 2018, and I started to have flare ups again, and it had been very well controlled with medication for a long time. And so my way, and I'm not at all trying to say medication's bad, but my personal way of dealing with my health just being off, and my body like sending me all these signals all the time, was to suppress it all and to try to ignore it, and basically just being in the stance of I don't have the time or energy to deal with this, and it freaks me out, so I'm just not going to look at it. um, and so, yeah, I got to a place where what I had been doing wasn't cutting it anymore. And I remember like sitting on my couch in my living room and just going, like, I had to like stop and look at myself. Like, I could not just keep going in the same cycles I was in. I was overworking all the time, pretty much a workaholic. I was a perfectionist. I was um, constantly like really critical of myself. Lots of internal resistance. Lots of feeling like I'm not good enough all the time. And so I had to really pause and look at myself and go, what's going on here? And just kind of look at like where do I go from here? And I came to this realization. I think what happened is I was not allowing myself to look at how I was feeling. Um, really in my day-to-day life, like I would kind of drown out uh, my normal emotional state with work and lots of other things. And so in this time when my body's like screaming at me, if you have a screaming toddler, generally at some point you have to pay attention to them. Right. Um, so it kind of felt like that. I had to pause and go, okay, what's happening here? And where do I go from here? And so that felt like a state of acceptance where for a long time, um, I was doing what most people do, like what's like really societally accepted is you go to your doctor, you get your medication, you take it for the rest of your life, done and done. And I had a deeper inner truth that I was not allowing myself to see because it was so uncomfortable that I was not happy in my relationship with myself. I wasn't happy in my work. I wasn't happy in a lot of situations. um, and from the outside, my life looked pretty good. But I needed to come to a place of honesty with myself. So, yeah, in that moment on my couch, I had to go, okay, what feels true right now? And what didn't feel true was I'm doomed. There's nothing I can do. This is the end of the road for me. It just it didn't feel true. That's all I can say. It's like in my body, it didn't feel true. Um, and it almost seems like counterintuitive. Like you might think the acceptance would be, I have my diagnosis, I just need to accept it. And in some cases, that's true. But in my particular, well, yeah, actually, I think that is kind of where it starts in a way. So, in my work, I work with people dealing with chronic illness and self-loathing and self-judgment. And so, in my experience, healing can't really happen until you know where you're starting from. If you are doing what I was doing, just kind of burying everything, including like your sensitivity, your big emotions, if you are burying it all and trying to avoid because it's too uncomfortable to look at, or you don't know how to communicate it to other people, then you're missing the opportunity for healing. And you're missing the opportunity for acceptance, which is where healing starts. So, and for me, like acceptance is, I was thinking about this before we got on this call. I was like, what is acceptance? And to me, it's being present with what is. And so, as long as you are avoiding and kind of suppressing or repressing or whatever it is, hiding, then that's not a state of acceptance. And resistance is like, if there's resistance in your life, that's also a state of non-acceptance, again, in my experience. So yeah, so acceptance being, can I be present with what's happening right now and experience all the sensations in my body and just be there with it. Like it's so simple to do. Like it's not complicated to do, but it's really challenging for a lot of us. But that's where it all starts. That's where the healing journey starts, really. And so, yeah, I think back to like the times when I was in non-acceptance with my health, and what it looked like was sheer panic, freaking the fuck out, like telling lots of different people how freaked out I was, letting the freaked outness getting like just to grow and grow and get bigger and bigger, and it would get all this momentum. And so, and really it's like, it's overthinking, it's like analysis paralysis, it's projecting into the future. And kind of like what Marina was saying, like projecting out into the future isn't being here in the present with what is. And like you can't, like that doesn't exist yet. Even all the scary what ifs don't exist yet. If you're, you know, if your health feels like it's taken a turn you don't like, the way to start healing from that is to be here now and to be with it and to get really curious about it. Yeah. So that's the starting point for my experience and kind of what it started to look like for me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for everybody who's watching. Thanks for watching us. And hello to you too, Sarah. Good afternoon. So for me personally, when it comes to acceptance, I was also thinking about this earlier this morning. And for me, one of the pleasure tools I use is what we call yes. So you yes the situation that you're not in agreement with, in an attempt to be able to embrace it and then actually integrate it. So for anybody who's watching, I will be speaking at a Enhance Your Fertility Summit. So anybody that you might know who might be struggling with infertility or is looking to get pregnant in the near future and would like to naturally enhance their fertility, you can join me. It is going to be hosted by the West Coast Women's Reproductive Center this Sunday, April 25th, 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific. And during this summit, I'm going to be sharing how you can yes away the infertility challenge. It's not really a struggle, it's a challenge. And when you're yesing, you're actually taking something that is not fun. No one's jazzed about not being able to get pregnant when they want to get pregnant, right? So instead of saying like cursing your body or making yourself feel bad, beating yourself up, like why can't I get pregnant? What's wrong with my uterus? What's wrong with my husband's sperm? Like just pummeling ourselves with self-hate, that's not helpful. We can actually get to the point where we yes it. So it's like, yes, everything's effed up. Yes, we've been struggling with this. Yes, we've been trying for months, but you know what? We're going to make this fun, because once you realize that we're actually, everything that is you're experiencing is intended to happen for you, not to you. That's where the real magic begins. So for me, I will not demonstrate yesing on this call right now, mostly because I have to jump up and down. And we're not here to jam necessarily. So if you want to learn how to yes, come join me on the 25th. However, what I do is play that song by Chumbawamba. And it's the one that says, I get knocked down, but I get up again. Yeah, right. And so it's everyone knows the song. It's from the 80s. And so you like jump up and just say yes, yes, yes on beat. And when you do that, actually, you're allowing yourself in your subconscious mind to get in agreement with the thing that's really turning you off and pissing you off. And actually, when you do the exercise and jump up and down to that particular song, it really does make it more fun. And you're like, okay, like whatever. And that allows you to actually get in a state of not only acceptance, but also relaxation, you know? So when you're able to relax, for the example of infertility, you're able to get pregnant because you're not out here like, okay, we got to have sex at this time because that's when my estrogen is at this level and then we'll get pregnant. It's like, no, like we got to have fun with it. Music is such a powerful tool. Yes, Andy. Yes, it is. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for sharing that. Because, I mean, if we're not out here trying to have a pleasurable life, what are we even doing? You know, like if you find that your life is a lot of things that you're not accepting, not a lot of your life is pleasurable, I would suggest it's time for an audit to be like, why is my life this way? What am I doing? Why is most of my life unpleasurable? Why am I mostly at odds with things in my life? How come I'm not accepting them? Do I even like the life that I'm living? What am I doing? So the only way, one of the few ways to get work through it is to just get to the acceptance part. Of course, there's other ways that you can use music to move the thing that you're not accepting through your body, especially for women. That's a little bit of a tangent from this discussion. So there's sad music that you can cry to and roll around the floor to within a container. That's another tool you can use. But I personally find that when you get into radical agreement with something that's turning you off, it's a lot more fun. When you are experiencing the sad emotions, I'm not out here saying that you have to suppress them. But sometimes I find if you don't have like a 15 to 30 minute container, it's very easy to wallow in it for months and years, and that is not helpful either. So that is, again, another discussion for another day. But guessing is the quickest way to get from no to yes, obviously. And that song by Chumbawamba, I'll leave it below. I'll leave like a YouTube link. But you just yes it because you're like, I got this, whatever. Like, F it. We're doing it. It's happening. And like what Marina was saying earlier about people that are staying with a guy, for example, because they're stuck up on the potential, it's once you just get into yes, like, yes, my boyfriend kind of blows. Yes, he doesn't pay attention to me. Yes, like, maybe I could just stop doing this because this is stupid. Maybe we should just consider taking a break, or maybe we should break up because now I'm pumped. I'm filling my own cup first, and I'm able to acknowledge what is in front of me. And when Marina, you said it earlier, it made me think of, whatever is meant for you will not pass you by. So if this guy is just not measuring up to what you would like, right? And you also did your inner work first. So you're not just like telling your boyfriend, like, you should do this, right? Are you doing that for yourself first? And if the answer is yes, because now you've yesed it through your body, then you're like, well, I'm doing it for myself. He's not doing it. I'm going to go. Yes. Yes, Andy, she's yesing. She knows. So, when you're saying that, then you're like, well, this is so stupid. Like, why am I in this relationship? This is dumb. So if it's meant to be, it'll work out. And whenever you find that you're too afraid to yes a situation, or you're afraid to let something go because you don't think you're going to get better, you have to acknowledge that you're coming from a scarcity mentality, and we live in an abundant universe, actually. So there's no need to worry about it. So whenever you're feeling scarce, maybe that's also a time to check in and be like, okay, how can we switch from scarcity to abundance mindset thinking? Because again, there's no such thing as a lack of men, okay? There's definitely no such thing as a lack of men in good relationships. And there's definitely no such thing as a lack of pleasure in regards to a situation that is not fun. So that is just how I use acceptance in my daily life. And actually, when I'm able to move through and get to the acceptance stage, that's when things open up more, versus if I'm just trying to hold on for the sake of holding on. That's when it goes sour. You got to learn to let go. You got to dance with life, not be like it's not meant to white knuckle your way through all the time. You know?
Yes.
That's kind of more of what I meant is too, is like, no matter what the situation is, it's like, yeah, maybe it's a situation that you have to let go. Maybe it's a situation that you have to let go for the moment because you're a person, whatever. But yeah, either way, you can't hold on super tight to things. Kind of like something that Lorna said earlier, where about like the relationship to yourself. It's like, no matter what the situation is, it could be a great guy, like he's just going through some hard things, like blah, 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 whatever. But it's like, once you start putting your energy and putting it into some other person and like, oh, well, now I should act this way so that he's this or blah, blah, blah. It's like, you have to focus on, when you're focusing on the relationship with your person and not the relationship with yourself, that's going to be, it's like the answer for, especially for women who want to be in their divine feminine, it's like always going to be, how is your relationship to yourself? How can you better the relationship with yourself? Because that's going to better your relationships, whether that's bringing in the person that is supposed to be your person, or like maybe that doesn't happen because that person's not supposed to be your person. But either way, I think that like for women, I say women because I think that like, you know, you can't both be resting in your feminine energy, just like waiting for shit to happen. But for, you know, women especially, it's like you focus on you and just be open and receptive to, you know, whatever situations that fit your boundaries, you know. And kind of like Melanie was saying, like, I think that really what acceptance boils down to is like being able to say, I really think now, like kind of the acceptance in a nutshell is the fuck it, everything's fucked up. Everything's fucked up, fuck it, like you know. And it doesn't mean fuck it like everything's fucked up like now we have an attitude about it. It's like being happy in the chaos, you know. It's like life is shitty sometimes, you know, life isn't always love and light. But if you can find your love and light within the fucked up shit, then I think that's what acceptance is, really, in all aspects of, you know, what we're talking about.
Yeah. And I love that you came back to the relationship with yourself, because as I was thinking, I was like, isn't that the key to everything? Like
Right.
your money, your physical health, like, yeah, your relationships with other people, like all the big like core areas of our life. I feel like you start with you, right? And like, because you bring you everywhere you go for your entire life. So
yeah, that's the key that me and Lauren and I are trying to say is like, you don't have to do shit ever. That's the secret. It's like, you don't have to go and like control your man, your relationship, your health, like your finances. You just have to work on your relationship with yourself. And that's the power of being in your fucking divine feminine energy. Is your magic, your vagina is magic, your magic just being a woman. Just fucking work on yourself. Work on yourself and watch your health get better, your finances get better, your relationships get better. That's the secret, everybody.
Right. And like Sarah commented here, acceptance and flow, and work on our smile. Yeah. So it's like having pleasure through the chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you, as a woman too, especially women watching, we're socialized not to have the full range of emotions. So we encourage the full range, and we definitely encourage rage and sorrow. You got to feel those things in order to move on. And then afterwards, you're just like, okay, we've moved through them. We accepted them. We've embraced them. Okay, great. And then at the end of the day, there's more things to smile about than be miserable about, to be honest. Currently, the vibe seems, especially in the US, like not that kind of way. But it is the case. It depends on what you're focusing on throughout the day. But even getting into acceptance with political parties that you may not agree with, or whoever is in office, right? It's like at the end of the day, we still have to accept it, even if we don't necessarily like it. And that's when the real magic opens up. So I was gonna say like time is an illusion and we're in a hologram, but again, maybe that's like a discussion for another Empath Inside Power
Next
Journal.
episode.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that one.
I think we talked a little bit too in one of the past episodes about, because I like that you brought up like basically that's honoring your emotions, but not getting like cry. Like we can cry and be okay with it and be like, you know what, I have a right to cry about this. I'm upset, like blah, blah, blah. But then also telling yourself after a certain period of time, like, girl, now we're done crying. Like you have to get up and do your stuff. And we can cry later. Cool. Like that'll be fun, you know? But yeah, that balance of, I think we did an episode on that, like that balance of like honoring your emotions, but having a container for it so that you're not letting your sorrow bleed everywhere.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. And Sarah says that I love how Marina explains it. Fuck it, it's happening and we won't have control of anything but our reaction. Keep it moving. Yay. So, is there anything else you guys would like to add as we conclude this episode on acceptance?
I think my offer will we'll get into this as we share this, but I'll just add, I feel like again, like acceptance is in presence with what is. And anytime we're not experiencing that, we're probably up here in like our thinking mind, which likes to assign meaning and stories to things, which are not always bad. But I was thinking before, like control, like kind of again what you were talking about, Marina, like control is a state of non-acceptance. Mm-hmm. trying to like force something to be that isn't yet. It totally could be. It totally could like manifest whatever way, but it's in the being with it that comes. And so it's like when we get up here and like, well, this means this about me, and this can't happen because blah, 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 or like this person thinks this of me. That totally rips us out of acceptance. And so like pro tip, for me, the best way I've come into acceptance with things is just to be still for a while. Like you can call it meditation if you want, but just to notice like, okay, I'm feeling resistance in my relationship with my body. Okay, like where is that in my body? Like where do I feel that sensation of resistance? What is its quality and where is it? And what is it like to simply hold space for that sensation? And surprise, surprise, it transmutes on its own. You don't have to do anything except to be there with it. So yeah, like a container of time helps, but yeah, just giving yourself permission to be with the discomfort or whatever it is. And you'll notice it's probably not as scary as you think up here. So yeah.
So you feel the fear and then move through it anyway.
Yeah, you let it be. Like you let the fear be what it is because you let yourself be what you are too. Mm-hmm. So you give permission to all parts of you. Should I just go ahead and share the offer? So what I've been doing with people who are looking for a way to do this is I have a vitality activation session where you book a time slot. It's an hour and 15 minutes. And we do this guided experience together. So we learn a little bit about like what's going on in your life right now. Oftentimes there are big emotions or big resistances in our life. Sometimes we think of them as like emotional blocks. And so we kind of get clear on what that is. And then as we move through the time, all you have to do in the session as the recipient is to be present with your body and to notice different sensations. You might notice like hot or cold or tight or open or heavy or light, like so many variations. And you start to notice how your intuition is speaking to you through all this. So it's a guided experience of getting more and more clarity on what those sensations mean for you, and allowing them to transmute and move through your body and then totally release. So if you're carrying the weight of the world right now, you get to let it go. And again, we do it through just being present with it. And you come out on the other side, excuse me, on the other side with so much freedom because there's no more resistance to the thing. Like, it's a little hard to put into words, but when you're sitting on your own and you're going, what do I do about this? How do I fix this? It's all up here. And really all the wisdom you need is down in your body, in your intuition. And so, yeah, so it's a finite container of time. You don't have to, like, you can go back to the worry afterwards if you want. Most people don't, because it just releases naturally. But it's a space of time where you have total permission to let it all go. And it, yeah, again, just like releases from your body. And this can help, like I said, emotional blocks, physical symptoms in your body, literal symptoms that you're having, they can leave during the space of that time. And of course, the self-loathing and self-judgment that I help people with too. So I've seen huge transformations from people in this. I'm so excited to do with more. So that is 222 right now. And I'm sure we'll have a link in the description for that.
Yay. So I like that you talked about, like, a lot of people think intuition is here and it's really here, because I think that's a big thing. Yeah, and also control, because I think that's a huge aspect in everything that we're talking about. And when you're trying to control situations, you're right, like, it can be, but it's only going to be by letting it go. It's kind of like a weird paradox. Like, you can get what you want, but you have to let it go and just let it naturally be, if that's what you're hoping for, and being open to the fact that it might not, like, you don't know. But you do know that whatever's meant for you is going to be for you. So my area is love, self-love, shadow integration. So it's shadow integration. A good example would be what we just talked about, kind of like honoring your emotions, where it's like, we're honoring the part of you that wants to be fucking sad, but we're also, that's not where we want to be all the time, right? So we're honoring both sides, instead of being like, why I'm always this way. And, you know, I could go on forever about shadow integration, but it's basically coming back to yourself and feeling deeply into your personal power. So I'll say prioritizing your relationship with yourself and improving your relationships with others. I used to say to improve your relationships with others, but it's really, the focus is just to prioritize the relationship with yourself with no ulterior motives. But the added benefit is that's going to improve the relationship that you have with other people. So I do have a workshop that I'm doing soon, and it's going to be, I'm offering a big part of it for free. So that is going to help you root deeply within yourself. I'm really excited about it. I've been working on it for a while. So if you guys want to learn more about that, or just be able to have access to that, because it's going to be free when I launch it out, and then I'm turning it into a paid course, then I would recommend joining my group. It's the Unconditional Self-Love and Shadow Work community. And I think Melanie has a link for you guys in the description after this is over. But I would go ahead and join that community so that you can be updated on when that's coming out. I haven't been super active in there recently because I've been working on this for you guys. So I also offer one-on-one sessions. So it's soul sessions are your roadmap to finding unconditional love by loving yourself unconditionally. So all sessions start with a personalized activation meditation to help you reconnect with your divine feminine energy, the essence of your desires, because it's hard to focus on yourself when the only thing that you desire is relationships or things that are outside of yourself. So we really want to boil down, like, what is the essence of your desire? Because your desire is not going to be I'm not accepting your desire being like, I want to be with Bobby. Like, that's not a good why. What is the essence of that? To cultivate a sense of safety within your body so that you can begin to uncover what's keeping you stuck in old patterns. What do you believe is blocking you from that? So let's create a roadmap to leave you with a clear direction and action steps to start you on your journey. If you're single, if you're in a relationship, if you just went through a breakup and you're really yearning for that root feeling of wholeness and unconditional love within yourself, or if you just want to form a deeper connection with yourself, then I would recommend a soul session. I'm going to raise the prices also after this this workshop comes out. So now is actually a really good time to do that. So come visit me at sosguidance.com if you want to learn no more about that. Yeah, then just come visit me over there and we'll get you started.
Yeah, so we are concluding this episode. And if anybody's interested in learning more about the pleasure tools that you can use, specifically if you're having infertility issues, I am going to be speaking at the Fertility Summit. It is for free. It is this Sunday, April 25th from 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific, and that is going to be hosted on Eventbrite and Zoom. So I will leave a link in the description below. Or you could just, creep and learn about pleasure tools anyway. Even if you're not having fertility issues, because that's just what I'm going to be talking about. It can be applied to any aspect of your life. So if you are interested, you can sign up in the link below. And of course, Lorna and Marina's links will also be in the description box below. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thank you for your insight. We appreciate it. And if there's anything, any message, any part of the message that you want to share with your friends, just share our video to get the word out. Thank you very much for watching this episode.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Sarah says we're a great blend. Thank you.
We are.
We love each other.
Thank you. It's true.
We do.
Oh, guys.
Thanks, Sarah.
We're concluding. Okay, have a great rest of your week and great weekend.
Bye.